I know it's the first weekend of NFL out there, but we've got a lot of fantasy baseball to talk about. 3 weeks left in the season. Time to win your league. All coming up next on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Scott Jenstad. Special guest today. I'm joined by the wonderful Paul Sporer. We appreciate Paul for jumping on here. We are sponsored by Chalkboard. We appreciate the sponsorship there. Paul, we got 3 weeks left in the season. How's everything in your world there?
It's going all right. Coming down the stretch here, I'm really playing out the string. I would need some pretty big runs to even cash in anything. So, always playing till the end, though.
Oh, yeah.
Running my waivers, making sure I get guys in. I don't care if I'm in 8th place. If I can afford the top guy in the waiver wire, I'm getting him. I've never liked that. That's one of my only negative things about the main event, is that there's a contingent of folks there that think the people in the bottom half of the league should quit, or that they can't bid, $200 on the big FAAB guy because they haven't bid in 4 weeks. You don't know what was happening in their life for that last month. So anyway, I don't need to get on my soapbox immediately here. I'm doing my due diligence as a player who plays all 6 months, but I am not chasing anything right now.
Yeah, I'm big in that you spend your money, you get to spend your FAAB how you want. The only time it ever bugs me is like someone doesn't bid for 5 months, then intentionally like just tries to steal some money. Even then, I don't have a problem with it, but minorly annoying, but still within their rights and kind of how you play the game. But yeah, if I have, if I'm battling and someone who is in 14th hasn't bid in 3 months and bids $1 more than I have, I can get annoyed. But still their right, as long as there's no funny business going on. You're not bidding for your friends or trying to.
No one coming in and saying exactly.
Yeah.
If there's anything like that, I'm fully out
for sure. But other than that, you get to spend your $1,000 and you paid your entry. You kind of do what you want.
Right, exactly. And like you said, you never know what someone's going on with their life. They could have been dealing with some crazy stuff in their life for 2 months straight, and then they come back and say, hey, I'm going to spend this money. So anyway.
Yeah.
But
no one gets that more than me in 2025, so I'm fully on board with that.
And honestly, I was thinking about that. I was going to say, all the stuff you went through with the fire, people could say, if you disappeared from a league and then came back, that would be perfectly reasonable.
I fully admit that I did not make a lot of good basketball bids in my NFBKC leagues for a month there. So I fully get it. But you just never, you're right. You never know what's going on with someone. But speaking of going on with someone, your buddy Greg Martin, who's in my main event league. I'm hanging in there. I have 47th overall. I'm looking at the standings right now. Our friend Mike Masato is 28th. He's having a great year there. His team's been really good.
Y'all got a league, man.
Yeah, he's been battling with me all year. And your buddy Greg Martin was in 3rd for a long stretch, has shot to the top of that league. But not only that, the reason I bring it up, he's 2nd overall right now. Gained 120 points today, like 300 overall. How's Greg nerves these days?
Oh, shot to hell. He had a hell of a year last year too. Not quite this high, but in contention for a bunch of stuff, did very well. This year, obviously, it's next level, being 2nd place, seeing that he really has a chance. I mean, he's all the way in it. Again, nerves shot, but 3 weeks left. He's also a Mets fan, so his nerves have been shot. I don't know if I think he's 26, 27 years old. So his nerves have been shot for 26, 27 years.
He's used to it then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So he's battle tested here. He can deal with this, but he's put together a great team. He's a wonderful player. Anyone who listens to my podcast knows. I call him my Bob Sacamano because for a long time I'd bring up my friend Greg, and I was like, no one's going to believe that there's this who is this person? Now I can just point to the top of the main event and say, that's the Greg I've been talking about, and that's why I'm able to have any success. He just tells me what to do, and I just do it.
I think I've had the overall winner in my league a couple times, so that's good karma, at least for him. So that's he's got some good mojo there. But his team's been balling. But we got 3 weeks left. I know you mentioned you're playing out the string, maybe not playing for anything big, but what kind of strategy tips you got for everybody out there? 3 weeks left. Are you just you need to focus on the categories and kind of throw everything out the window? Yeah,
all standings all the time to the nth degree, to the point where you're doing stuff that you would never do in the first 5 months. I talk about one of our common friends and one of Greg's good friends too, Rob DiPietro. Did me a solid. He didn't do me a solid, but his strategy did me a solid where he was going all saves So he had nine closers. He cut Logan Webb for the last week because what does he need those starts for?
Right.
I got him, and those helped me secure my main event title. So, you see stuff like that. That's obviously something that I will always remember because it helped me. But you see things like that all the time. Closers that wouldn't normally appear. But if you can't move in saves, what do you need that? You need that roster spot for something. So play to your standings heavily and be realistic about what you can get. You might have to do some of the math and say, can you really make up 12 runs? Getting 12 runs is easy. Can you get 12 more than a team? That's what you need. So you got to be really honest about things and chase the points that you can actually get.
Yeah, like in my online championship, I dropped a closer this week. I'm like top of the league in saves. I need wins and strikeouts. It's just one of those things. We got 3 weeks left. You know, if I'm giving up those 5 saves, but I'm going to get a 2-star pitcher in that slot every week. It's just one of those things. It's just it's purely standings based.
There can be strategy to that too, because then maybe you bleed some money out from some other competitors that won't chase you for the batter that you needed the last 2 weeks too. So there can be a lot of different aspects to cutting a rather quality player that you no longer need.
Yeah, there really can. And the other note is you're not dropping that guy for 3 weeks. You're really dropping him 2 weeks because nobody has him this week. So it's like it's one of those things that everybody's like, oh, I don't want to. It's only 2 weeks, and you can still pick up the person back up too. So it's there's a lot that goes into it. This end game is very difficult. It's fun, but it's difficult, especially the last week. Last week is
remarkably difficult,
almost impossible. Last weekend, like knowing who's going to pitch guys is really tough. But 3 weeks left. We still got a couple weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks of all the starters playing. So it's kind of full go there. But you're right, it's kind of a category thing as well. But jumping into baseball, real baseball for a second. Huge weekend for the Yankees. I know that you're a Tigers fan. You're just kind of chilling right now, watching there's no pennant race for you. I guess the top overall seed is good for you. So the Jays losing a couple games is probably okay there. But Yankees, Red Sox, and Jays. Yankees lost Friday night, then won Saturday and Sunday against the Jays. Closed that lead at 2. Those are 2 big wins. Red Sox 3.5 back. This really should be a fun last 3 weeks in the AL East.
It really is. It's obviously a division that gets a lot of attention, having the most famous team ever in it, and then arguably the second one with the Red Sox right there. Jays are very popular too. They're underratedly popular. They have an entire country, folks. They really do show out. So this is 3 powerhouse teams. Excuse me. That are going to be going at it, and I am really excited about it. Those 2000s Yankees Red Sox with the 4.5-hour epics. It was a fun period of baseball, I will say that, but the games were way too long. I kind of like this new style of baseball with these same teams battling here and see how they can do things in 2.5 hours. So I'm really excited. I didn't see the Jays coming at all. Did you at any point in March think the Jays were a true competitor? Because I got to be honest, I got them dead wrong. I wrote them off entirely.
Yeah, I did not see that either. I think it's some bounce backs from Bichette, maybe Springer, but I did not see this fully. It could be the division. I mean, you think about the fact they're 16 up on the Orioles, 11 up on Tampa. Right. We thought that those teams would be better than we thought the Jays were maybe a last place team when you look at it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
A last place team.
Maybe the Rays had kind of lost that magic, but they're 500. But yeah, Toronto at first is pretty wild.
I'm stunned by it. And I thought it would be a deep division where, the last place team like they were last year, they won 74 games. I thought it could be like a mid to high 70s wins team, but not good. And here they are, 82-61. The offense is deep. The pitching is old but solid. The thing of it is, though, what do they look like in the playoffs? Can they really get it done there? That I don't know, but it's going to be a really interesting race. The Red Sox are kind of appealing too. I really like this Peyton Tolley kid. I know he had a bad second start, but he's electric. Can he bring them some real innings down the stretch? So yeah, it'll be a really fun race to watch. We don't have a lot of great races, so I hope it lives up to the hype and that they really kind of stay battling each other all the way down.
Yeah, it's very possible we get no wild card races in the last week, like week to 10 days too. So I'm hoping the AL East is good. I'm hoping the AL West is good too. Astros are up 2.5 on the Mariners. Both teams kind of limping to the finish here. They're both won 4 of the last 10. Astros do have Yordan Alvarez back, but Texas kind of quietly gained 3 games on both those teams over the last 10 days, so they're 4 back. So probably at least we get a couple of good divisions. And obviously got the NL West, which is a 1-game lead. Seems like neither the Dodgers nor the Padres want to win it right now. Really rough week in Southern California for baseball. But they did both win today. The Dodgers finally won a game after maybe the worst loss of the season last night with Yamamoto. I saw a stat that they were the first team to ever lose the game where the pitcher went 8 2/3 no hitter. I still can't believe lost that. I can't believe lost that game. That was crazy.
Unreal.
Did you think Pa has to jump for the home run?
I mean, yeah, I think you got to kind of go.
I do too.
I was sitting there. I'm not, you mentioned I'm a Tigers fan. I'm not a Dodgers fan. Sitting there, mouth agape at the end. Could not believe it. Just like
crazy.
What did I just watch? Unbelievable stuff. we talk about it all year. It gets boring with them, but they are just kind of coasting to get to this playoffs. But the thing of it is, the division is very important. You mentioned those top 2 seeds. That is very important. They're going to want that. They are getting healthy at the right moment. It hasn't resulted in a lot of performance. As you mentioned, they went 3-7 in their last 10, did the Dodgers. But they are getting the guys back. Snell, Glasnow, Betts went yard today. I think he went yard a couple times this week. So if he gets going, they're still a force to be reckoned with. And the second the calendar turns to October, they're no worse than, second favorite, if not the top favorite? Like, they're still going to be there for everything this year. I
think so too. They are 4 behind the Phillies right now, and they're not catching Milwaukee. So it's going to be they're going to have to get really hot these last weeks to get a bye in that first round, and that's a big spot. Obviously, you don't want to play that 3-game series. The games are all at home if you win the division, but you certainly want to avoid that if you can. And they're in a tough spot here where avoiding that might be really difficult. With although Trey Turner got hurt today, it hurts the Phillies there. They're down Zach Wheeler too. Phillies could be limping in these playoffs, unfortunately.
They really could. That's 2 massive pieces. Obviously, they've got some pitching depth. If Nola can come back and be a reasonable facsimile of himself, now I won't say Wheeler because that's too high of a bar, but if he can be a reasonable version of decent Nola, that can bridge the gap there with the 2 lefties, Sanchez and Suarez kind of leading the charge. But obviously, losing Wheeler is devastating for them and fantasy folks, of course, too.
For sure. And in a playoff series, like that ace is just such a big factor. As you know from Verlander beating my A's in Game 5, seemingly 1,400 years in a row.
That's the thing the Tigers always had was you never were worried about the first 6 innings of a game. It was always those final 3 that the Tigers play off.
I still have nightmares about Scherzer coming out of the pen in that game and gassing guys for an inning, like throwing 112 and had the look in his eye like there's no way anyone's touching the ball right now.
And then taking someone's arm off when he gave a high five afterwards. It was the hardest high five I've ever seen in my life. I'll never forget it.
I was like 3 blocks away from Comerica that week for work, and I couldn't get there, but it was like painful. Like, no, he was right there, and then see that happen, and then the ball that Reddick hit that I think a fan, I forget what it was. A fan reached over, he's trying to catch it, whatever it was. Victor Martinez hit it, maybe something like that. But
those were some epic series against the A's.
I don't know if I told you, I drove up for Game 5 after the Coco walk-off in Game 4. Off Valverde.
Did not know that.
My wife and I were just like, you know what? Screw this. We're going to drive up to the game. We're so fired up and amped up. We went up, and then Verlander, maybe 6 pitches, and I told my wife the game was over. I'm like, there's no way. He threw 1 changeup, but I'm like, this game's over. It's just, shut it down. Yeah.
It was that quick. Easy to say now we have the answer, but that night it was this is over.
I knew. Yeah, I knew.
He is so dialed. He will not lose. He'll fight Leland for the ball if he comes out. It was one of those things. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. But so let's jump into some fantasy. You and I could probably talk baseball from that era forever. But how do you feel about this Joe Adell season? Joe Adell is one of those guys I've been waiting for a few years. I think I've drafted him multiple times, including in a league we were in. I took him too early that year. But you look up, and Adell has 35 home runs and 94 RBI. I know he left the game today. He was a little nauseous, left the game earlier. But he's hitting 243. The strikeout rate is down to a manageable level. The power was obviously real always, but he's really tapped into it. 17% barrel rate, hard hit rates over almost 50%. I know this season's been great, but I want to ask you how you feel about him in 2026. Is someone that you're like he's here, he's arrived, been waiting all these years, he's here? Are you still a little wary on that? What do you feel about Joe Adell coming into 2026?
I'm terrified.
Oh, man.
I think it's a trap. I'm so scared. I like Joe Adell, too. I come in as a positive, somebody who was in on the Joe Adell experience multiple times and unfortunately got burned by it, not benefiting from this 34-92 campaign so far. 5 steals, though, too. Only 5 of 6.
That's the one issue. I wish you had 10 to 12. It'd be really nice.
Right. And he was 15 for 25 last year, which is a bad rate. And you have to wonder if the team put a little yellow light, red light on him and said, if you can't make these better decisions, you don't get to go as much. And that has dinged his fantasy value. Here's the thing. You do mention that the strikeout rate is down to a manageable 26% for Adell. And I do agree. I like it there. However, we're not out of the woods that it goes back up to 28 plus. And because he still doesn't walk, in fact, he's walking less this year to kind of balance it out a little bit to show that his strikeouts are, when you have a walk rate to go with it, it doesn't mean that the strikeouts don't hurt still. It's because you are waiting for your pitch. You're going deep in counts. When you have a 26% K rate and a 6% walk rate, you don't know where the ball is half the time. You're flailing. And I worry that he could be a trap. Now, here's the one thing. Adell might be post-hype enough that people aren't really buying in even here at an aggressive price.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much experience with him. Remember, he's still, I guarantee this number will stun at least a couple listeners. He's only 26 years old, folks.
Yep.
I know he's been around for 42 years. This is a Victor Robles situation.
Yep.
He's still young enough to like be advancing in a growth stage. So it's really going to come down to the price. If he's inside, I got to say like, the top 120, 125 for me, I can't pay that for Adele.
Okay.
And the higher end version of this for me is Pete Crow Armstrong. And I'm really worried about him for the exact same reasons. Now he runs and that makes it, again, the luxury version of this. But I worry about both of them as trap hitters. I don't think they've figured anything out necessarily with their hitting.
I wonder how much these like last 6 weeks of Pico Armstrong deflates his price. Like he was
exactly.
I think it was kind of secure that he was gonna be like a late first, early second kind of 1-2 turn guy for most of the first like 4 months.
Yes.
You look now, he's at 254. These last 2 months have been really bad. He's struggling against lefties, starting
sub
to get
300 OBP.
Yeah, you're right. 293 OBP. Wow, that's crazy too. Yeah, I wonder where he's going to end up. Like, has he been pushed down like 2-3 turn now, or is just that 30, 35, whatever this is going to end up as, is going to be enough that people are going to be into that?
It's gonna carry the day, I think, with Pete Armstrong because he's 24, so he's even young. So you can spice up all the narratives so much more with him that I still think you're going to be looking at second, third round, if not earlier. I would want third, fourth, so I'm never getting him, and I understand that with PCA. And then again with Adele, this is the bargain basement version of this, but if it's bargain enough, I will jump in because I do believe that he still has the raw talent of the power. And I actually think that the speed could still return if he becomes a better base stealer. So again, 120, 125 is my cutoff there. Where are you paying for Adele as a believer and a fan?
Probably a little higher than you. I like that it's not this like, I know it's a batting average spike to say 243 sounds crazy, but it's up 40 points in the last couple of years. I like the BABIP's still low, so it's 263. So like it's a lucky 243. I think it's a legit 240 to 245 to 260 somewhere in there. I don't think he'll hit 260, but I think the 250 range is pretty playable. I think the power is absolutely legit, absolutely real.
Fully agree.
I think the playing time is fully here. Like that those concerns are fully gone. I think he's bought himself a gigantic long leash there. He's a lot better than Mike Trout the last 2 months. That's for darn sure. But I think I'm paying that price. If it's in the 1 to 120, I'm paying it. If it gets in the top 100, I'm probably with you that I have been scarred in the past, and maybe I back off then. But yeah, give me him in the. So what is that? The 8th round in a 15-teamer?
Yeah,
I'm pretty in on that.
Something like that I could get behind. Now, here's one for you, and I know this will depend kind of on what you would need here, but let's just say you got your needs. They're equal at this point, so you can't just say speed for Harris and power for Adele. But what about between those two? Michael Harris II, Joe Adele. I wonder if they're going to be going around similar price points, or if Harris's second half surge is going to push him way up again. But who do you like more between those two at what you believe their prices might be?
I felt like Harris was going to push himself higher than that, but that hot streak has kind of tailed off a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's he? He's 17-15 right now.
Yeah, with the 245.
245. Strikeout rate's a lot better. I'm going Joe Adele between those two, to be honest.
I am
too.
too.
I think that we talk a lot about Michael Harris. Never hit 20 home runs in a season, and never topped 20 stolen bases in a season. I know he got a couple exactly 20, so I'm kind of picking numbers.
That's the stunner.
Yeah,
because I would have thought he had a 30 bomb on
me
his
too.
ledger.
And I know that first year was only 114 games. I know last year was only 110, but he had 10 steals last year. He's never had that monster year, considering he gets drafted in the second, third round in all these drafts.
Exactly.
I think we're waiting for it. I don't know. I'm going to Adele between those two, and I'm probably in the minority, I would imagine.
I'm with you, and I think we are, and I think we're getting a better price too, because I think Harris is actually going to cost more. So if we're saying at their respective prices, I think we actually win further. But if it's equal prices, I'm easily still Adele. I was never.
I'd be willing to bet that Harris's ADP is, I guess I call it lower, but it's a lower number than Adele's is.
Yeah, I think it will be by like enough of a margin that it shouldn't be.
Another guy who has broken out this year, and you look at all the hard hit stuff, and he comes out really well with that, is Ben Rice in New York.
Yes.
He's interesting because he's going to be catcher and first base eligible next year. He's played enough games where it is awesome. So he'll be catcher eligible. He's at 23 home runs after his 3-run bomb today. Weirdly, only 54 RBI. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look to see if he's bad with guys on base or what's going on there.
A bit.
I guess he leads off some too, and if you got Anthony Volpe at the bottom of the lap, the guy's not on base. So there's going that for you. His OBP is atrocious, by the way.
It's unbelievable
horribly
how bad he is.
But Rice is going to be a catcher. The power is crazy real. 55% hard hit. He's got a 16% barrel rate. Doesn't strike out. 20.3% strikeout rate is really good for a power hitter. 10% walk rate. Like, his whole profile looks really good. He's same age as Dell. He's 26 right now too. Kind of took a while going through the minors. But how do you feel about Ben Rice going next year? Obviously plays in a great park for a guy who hits lefty. Where are you with Rice?
I'm obsessed with Rice. Now, full disclosure, had him this year. So nice. I was taking him under the notion that I might not get the catcher eligibility. I liked him enough that even if I don't get that, that's fine. I was pairing him up with my other guy, Hunter Goodman, who also has catcher eligibility, and he's awesome. But I really like Ben Rice. I think he's a legitimately good hitter. I do think that the ribbies are down because he's more of a 1-2 hitter because he gets on base there, and they are kind of treating him as like a little bit baby Schwarber, very baby, meaning they're taking that OBP guy with the power and letting him bat high and not worrying about the low batting average that comes with it because he only hits 243 but a 332 OBP for Rice. With that catcher eligibility, it just makes him exponentially better. But I really think he's a 35 homer bat, if he's playing every day. And I honestly,
where's that going to slot into catchers next year?
I got to say top 5 catchers. I think I'm thinking Raleigh. Contreras, Bangaliers, Will Smith.
Bangaliers, man.
And then after those 4, I'm looking at Rice, Goodman, Agustin, Salvi as like a group. So I can get as high as 5 or 6 there for Rice.
I think that's about the range there. I think those top 4 are definitely going to be above them. But those next 4 are probably in the same bucket. And I love watching Agustin, but I don't know. I think Rice's profile with the hard hit and the lack of walks, I think I'm going to be pretty attracted to that all draft season.
Yeah, I really, really like him. You mentioned the park is such a great fit too. Yeah. What if they move him down into a better RBI spot and he's driving in 90 now? All of a sudden, there's a lot.
What if Volpe's OBP is above 150?
Yeah, how great could that be if he has a OBP that matches my weight at the very least?
Oh, well, now we're down to like 128, 130 right there. Another guy who's just a weird, wild last couple months is Ellie De La Cruz. This is he was like 4th, 5th overall in drafts. You probably know because I sent you an outline. Do you know how many home runs Ellie De La Cruz has since July 1st?
I was blown away.
Did you think I was wrong when I typed that? You're like, did you go look?
I believed it, but I was just like, that. I cannot.
He has one home run. One home run since July 1st.
One homer, folks.
And I scrolled the game logs, so I thought maybe Fangraphs was doing something wrong to me. They wouldn't do anything that wrong to me. I know you work there. I have mad respect, and I use it constantly. I was like, it must be wrong. They must have screwed this up.
There's no way. There's no way.
He has one. He hit a home run June 23rd.
Yep.
Since then, he hit one on July 31st. That's it. That's the list.
Nothing. And
impossible, right?
Yeah, just like completely impossible. And as you put in the notes here, got to be hurt.
Has to be hurt, right?
There's no possible way he's playing at 100% here.
Also, plays in a great hitter's ballpark for home runs. Like,
yes,
what
you'd think he'd just clip one, a random one, and especially with as much power as Ellie De La Cruz has, he doesn't even have to do that much, and he hasn't been able to find one in over a month. Crazy. I don't understand.
You know what else is sneaky? 3 stolen bases since August 1st.
Yes,
so
he's doing nothing for folks.
That's 6 weeks. No home runs, 3 RBIs. Or 3 stolen bases, sorry.
The beauty of Roto is you just look at the bottom line, okay? And he's 1932 with a 267 and still a few weeks left. So you're going to feel pretty good about like a 20. Well, we don't know. Is he going to gain more homers or steals? But even at this, okay, it's fine. But imagine how much he's murdering head-to-head, folks. He has ruined.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
He cooked them down the stretch. He probably cost some folks playoff spots or cost them in the playoffs. And it's hard to ever put it on one guy, but he's such that guy, Ellie, that he does everything that I could see him completely tanking some head-to-head teams down the stretch.
That's a good point right there. You know what's really crazy about the Elder Cruz line? Aside from 30 batting average points, it's essentially the exact same line as Bobby Witt Jr.
Wow.
Bobby Witt is 21-34. What'd you say Ellie was? 19-32?
Yep.
And Ellie's got 95 runs and 79 RBI. Bobby Witt's got 90 RBI and 77, or 90 runs and 77 RBIs.
So their major difference is 30 points of batting.
30 points of batting average. Otherwise, exactly the same line. And we talk about Ellie has been so disappointing. Bobby Witt is a weird pick for next year because I love Bobby Witt. Absolute stud. He still has 34 steals. He's still in 294, but Like, is he still a top 3-4 pick next year? Like, I don't know what happens there.
I think so, because you talk about 30 points of average as well with a 20, 25, 35 or 25, 40, whatever it's going to be. I still think I got to stay committed, even though he's going to come in with an RBI total under 100, and it's going to feel weird to take somebody that high. I think you got to blame that on the team and stick with Bobby Witt.
But do you move? Are you thinking Ellie? How far do you think Ellie falls?
Just
like
to the
end of the first round?
Yeah, just to the middle end. Just to the middle end. And honestly, that could wane as we get further away from the season, right? This could be one of those things where the psychos like myself that are drafting, right as the season ends and in November and stuff.
Are you fully drafting in November, or you just got to do a couple? Like, what are you doing?
No, I'll do some DCs.
Okay.
I wait, especially with the Tigers.
Do DCs start during the playoffs or after the playoffs?
I think they start during.
That's wild.
I wait. Especially with the Tigers in the playoffs. I will, hopefully wait for a while, but I'm going to wait through the playoffs. I really, I need the break. I want to just chill and enjoy the playoffs. But then once my birthday, which is October 24th, hits, I start looking, and I usually get in one in time for the trip to Arizona.
Yeah.
And then I do one there too. So I start getting going there, but it's just DCs, nothing too crazy. Draft Champions Leagues.
It's just it's funny how close their lines are. It's pretty wild. And they have a very different narrative. And I think it's just because Ellie's been so rough the last 6 to 8 weeks that people are upset about that. And you're right, head-to-head leagues. My gosh, if you're going to playoffs and stuff, he's brutal. But
I feel bad because, again, you do rely on him to contribite to every category. So especially if you're in a categories league, he's not even getting you the steals, which normally he would, even if he wasn't hitting bombs.
Did you see the line drive catch spin around double play the other day though?
That's what.
Yeah, it almost makes up for the no home runs.
And that's what dings the injury narrative a little bit, is he's still showing the pure amazing athleticism he is defensively. And so I don't know. But now things can hurt differently for different things. There could be things that allow him to make the plays on the field, but the way he spins his body swinging, again, I'm speculating, I don't know. But it is weird that he has not only had one homer in that long.
That play looked pretty healthy, like a healthy play.
It looked, exactly. You don't see a hobbled guy making a play like that.
No. How do you feel about this Gavin Williams? I guess I'll call it a breakout, but there's some underlying concerns there. But ERA's 3.17. He's got 10 wins. He's made 28 starts, 150 innings, first full year in the majors. 3.17 ERA is really nice, but you look a little closer. There's a 1.29 WHIP behind that. That's not great. That's gonna hurt you for where you're gonna have to take him. He's got a 12% walk rate this year, which is that's scary too. 23% strikeout rate is fine, but not one you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a ton of strikeouts here. Enough if he throws a lot of innings. But how do you feel about Gavin Williams? I can't really figure out. There's enough here. He's got a really low bat. He's got a pretty low bat. He's got a really high strand rate. So there's some luck in there. You look at some of the xFIP numbers. They are not nice to him right now. We are in an age of fantasy baseball where 15 years ago, like, this guy would be way up in drafts, and now everybody's going to look at all those other numbers. It's crazy how much that's changed, by the way. It used to be like, this guy's ERA is great, I'm taking him early, and it's across the board totally different now. But where are you on Williams? Sorry.
One of the greatest examples of that phenomenon that you're talking about is where Seth Lugo went this year.
Yeah.
The market priced him perfectly.
Yeah, it did.
Did not overreact to the season at all, and it was easy to see. Like, I'm just saying, I was so impressed with how the market did. And you're right, it'll be the same with Gavin Williams, where the shiny 3.17 ERA will not dupe everyone, because everyone's going to look at those secondary numbers and see the big home run rate, the ugly WHIP. I will say, though, I came in as a big believer, so I'm a big Gavin Williams guy. I am looking at this through the rose-colored glasses of him. I've probably watched 22, 23 of these 28 starts. I've watched a lot. It's been painful, because he is one of these guys that has the great stuff, but oh my God, he'll just drag you through an inning, and you're 25, 30 pitches in, 30 pitches is kind of that red line in an inning. And he's probably done it 10 times this year. It's crazy. Yeah. He needs to learn how to be more efficient. Here's the bottom line with Gavin Williams for me, though. I am going to stay bought in next year, because I don't think the price is going to be over the top, especially until spring. If he hits another spring wave the way he did this year, I think my fall and winter drafts are going to be able to get Gavin Williams on the cheap again, because no one's going to overreact. They're going to all look at those secondary numbers and say, this guy stinks. I agree that he deserves some derision for this year, but I still see the core elements of what we like, which is big velo, the ability to spin the ball, and the ability to miss bats when he's on. He's very raw still, and at 25 with, he has 308 major league innings under his belt. That's not a big sample yet. Yep. I'm not really judging a guy fully until we're at the 600, 700 mark. In fact, I think that was the threshold that the guys, Mike Ciano and Corey Schwartz, used to use on the Fantasy 411 a million years ago when they would do their list of 12. The threshold was like 600 innings when they were looking for their breakouts. So, you talk about 310 innings here for Gavin Williams. He's such an unfinished product. I take a lot of positives from this year. And one of my biggest things is after 2 more starts, it'll be 30 starts. That first time getting 30 spins is huge for a young guy. I'm going to take the price here, the discount relative to what I paid this year. I think he'll be dropping in price, and I'm going to run with it because I still think that there's Gavin Williams here who can walk closer to 8% and be a mid-rotation guy who earns a 3.17 ERA. He didn't earn this one this year. I think he can.
That was a hell of a breakdown right there. I love that. Kelly Ugansky in the chat asking, what round do you think Gavin Williams goes? He was saying 8th to 10th round. Is that where you think the ballpark is?
Somewhere in there. I don't think he went in the... Oh, he did. Okay, so, and he was the second to last starter taken ahead of Kyle Bradish and right after Hurston Waldrop in the meatball draft, which went 11 rounds. So he was probably in that 10th or 11th round. I would love him right there as a up stock for me with Gavin Williams.
And there are going to be about 4 million podcasts. They're going to point out his strand rate, his BABIP, his FIP, and XFIP through 4 months of draft season. Everybody's going to bring it up the whole time. He's going to be one of those guys that everybody's going to talk about that.
Yes, and it all has merit to say that the 3.17 ERA is not real. However, I'm going to go back to the core skills of the stuff and talent and believe in him. Now, if the 94 location plus doesn't improve, then Gavin Williams is going to do the same thing next year. You're still betting on growth here, but I do believe that he can get there.
I love that. That was fantastic. I love that. Since we're talking starting pitching next year, I want to ask you the question I asked Jeff last week. There are very, very clear big 3 starting pitchers coming next year. Obviously, Wheeler's out for that. We don't know how long it's going to be, but probably out of that big 3 or 4. So I'm going with the big 3. Obviously, Skeen, Skubal. Who am I forgetting?
Crochet.
Garrett Crochet. So those 3. Do you have any feel for who you think 4 or 5 are be? We talked about a bunch of names in there, and we threw out 10 different names. I have no idea who 4 or 5 are next year. Do you have anybody that you think you're like, of course he's gonna be 4 or 5? Am I missing someone? Am I missing something here?
No.
Is there like an obvious 4 or 5, or is there guys you think it's
definitely not obvious?
4 to 20 is kind of a group.
I couldn't agree more, and I think I think when we go to Arizona, we could poll people. And maybe I will do this as a bit of content and poll people.
I really like that idea because I think it's a fascinating this year.
Because it's going to be all different answers. And a few names I'll give you would be Mariners guys. So whether you're talking about really any of them, Kirby, Gilbert, or Wu, and then Christopher Sanchez and Hunter Brown, 2 breakout guys that I really liked this year that both came through that I do believe in. So even though we would be betting on their breakout season, I think they showed a lot last year to where we're not just betting on one sample from them.
That Sunday Night Football game was fully amazing, by the way. It just ended.
Oh, my God. It really was.
Crazy. When we got on, Baltimore was up 40-25. Buffalo just kicked a field goal to win 41-40. That was kind of a crazy moment there. That's pretty wild. But I think it's a fascinating question because I don't think we've ever seen the line of demarcation that solid with the top 3. And those top 3 are all going to be, I'm just going to use a number, in the top 18 picks in the main event,
Agreed.
Top 15, probably first rounders. I don't know when the next pitcher goes. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be in the 3rd and 4th round. It's going to be it's going to take a lot of research to figure out who you like. And it's not going to be an ADP obvious thing. I don't think from 4 to 15, 4 to 20. It's going to be who you like and grab who you want. It's going to be a wild draft next year. I'm looking forward to it.
It really is because we continue to get further and further away from the bell cows. And so it opens things up so much more for you to take different paths. I was talking with Joe Rico recently on a pod and saying, I don't think I'm going to be drafting a lot of starters in my first 10 rounds. I'm really thinking I'm going to have ace starter, ace reliever, and 8 hitters 10 rounds in because I want to play the middle in pitching. I'm going to be getting those Gavin Williamses, those Hurston Waldrops, the Bradishes, who else went around there? I'm looking at the meatball. Pepio, who I love this year and who panned out. That's the tier that I'm going to be living in with a bunch of my pitching.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at the RotoWire. RotoWire has the earned auction calculator that tells you what people have earned so far this year. You can look at it Razzball. A lot of sites have it. But Skubal, Skeens, Crochet are obviously top 3. Brown's 4th. Freddie Peralta, who's been absolutely insanely on fire last 6 or 7 starts, have been crazy. He's 5th. They're both at $25. Then Pavetta and Evaldi, those guys kind of go together. It's kind of interesting how that works. I always kind of stick those guys together as it is. Then you got Zach Wheeler, then Carlos Rodon in there, Jacob deGrom, and then Brian Wu and Sanchez, two of the guys you mentioned. Yamamoto probably make it a little run up there too. Yeah.
And I had him top 5 this year, so he's done nothing to fall out of that.
No,
so
I agree.
Let me get him in there as well.
272, 101, coming on strong end of the year, 155 innings, shown he can throw a whole major league season. I think he's probably going to be. He'll probably be a consensus. I don't know if consensus, but I think he'll be a top 5 ADP.
I think he'll be. I think he needs to be firmly in there. In fact, I'm going to declare him my number 4 right now. Yeah,
love it.
I don't know if he's getting enough love.
I don't either.
Like, he's really panned out. He had the worst start you could have to a pro career. Remember, he melted down completely.
Yes, I remember. Yeah,
and it was so easy to do the whole like, oh my God, nice expenditure, you stupid idiots, all that sort of stuff. And the only thing that really slowed him down last year was injury. He only threw 90 innings, but they were brilliant. But it kept people off of him a little bit. This year, like you said, full season and just more brilliance. Yeah, I really love Yamamoto, so I'm gonna declare him my lock 4 right now.
He's 20.7 K minus walk, really good there. Swing and strike rate's really good. Hunter Brown is same in there. He's about 21% K minus walk. He's been, unbelievable. 225,
him too.
225, 101. Like, he's gonna be right up there too. But it's gonna be really fun. I love when there's just kind of that like huge question mark after those top 3. And does a situation like that make you want to take one of those top 3? Like, are you gonna aggressively KDS and try and get one of those top 3 at that point?
No, because I had a colossal problem this year that was across all of my leagues. I didn't have any speed.
Oh, okay.
I need to take a power speed guy in the first round.
Did you like miss on a couple speed guys in all your leagues that like guys you thought were going to steal and didn't, or just didn't get there?
All of them really just didn't get enough. I just didn't get enough. I just took too many of the some here, some there guys.
Right.
I don't take rabbits, but you don't need to take a rabbit to get steals. But you need to take some guys that are more of the foundation. But then I think about my main. Vlad Jr. was my first pick. Okay. Yeah. And then I went Scooble. So those are my top two first round picks in my mains. Okay, so I'm already behind the 8 ball with speed, and I didn't really chase to make up. So, that was a big problem, and I am going to address it next year because it is kind of 2 years in a row. This year it was crazy. I'm literally last or second to last in steals in every one of my leagues that I did by myself. And I stress that because Greg and I have 2 DCs where we didn't have those issues because Greg's good at fantasy and I'm terrible. But I'm going to address that. So no, I'm not going to take Skeen, Scooble, or Crochet in the first round next year. But I don't mind if people want to attack. The thing of it is, though, I think waiting on pitching has a lot of merit, even in 15s now. Nick Pollock, our friend, he plays more in 10s and 12s, and he does that a lot to play the wire because the pool is deeper. It's not that the pool has a lot of depth in 15s. In fact, it doesn't. But I'll play the middle rounds of the draft.
Yep.
I'm tired of paying premium assets for pitchers and watching them go down. Yes, hitters get hurt too, but pitchers, we all know, get hurt at a way higher rate. And I'm just tired of my 3rd, 4th round picks busting so consistently.
It's funny you say that, but not named the rabbit. I looked at my main event team because I'm like 3rd in the league in steals. I didn't really take anybody that was a pure rabbit. I have Pena with 20, J-Rod at 25, Tatis at 27. I had Caballero for a few at bats at 22, and Schwarber has 10. It's kind of piecing together.
4 20s is great.
Yeah,
that's a great little foundation.
4 20s works, right? Like, and I got Cedric Mullins with 12. I got Semien with 11. So just kind of piece together without ever having to play a guy that didn't hit home runs.
Exactly. I'm trying
to
avoid that.
I know Caballero, but that was kind of a part-time thing. But other than that, all guys that do other things too.
And Caballero's not expensive. My problem with the rabbits is I'm talking about the premium ones. Your Billy Hamiltons from yesteryear, your Chandler Simpsons next year.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I can't buy without constructing a full plan around it.
Last question before we jump into some FAAB here. Obviously, we've gone a while here. It's fun, but top 5 closers next year. We talked about pitchers. Hader, Duran, and Diaz, 3 for sure, right?
Yeah.
And then who the heck else?
Munoz.
You think Munoz is locking there?
I'm putting him in there. The only thing that slowed him down ever is injury too. His talent, I think, is unquestioned. So
he's a stud. So if you go 4, I have no idea who 5 is. Is it Mason Miller? Mason Miller, if he's the job.
If they announce him, yeah.
Is it McGill? Is it freaking Chapman, who's been insanely good? I think he's been underrated how insanely good Aroldis Chapman's been all year long. I know nobody likes him.
Right.
Man, he's been unbelievable. He's been
that's
lights
why it's
out.
underrated. That's why it's underrated because he's not very likable, both with the heinous issue with the domestic violence stuff, but then the weirdness with his mother. You can Google it if you want, folks, but it's weird. But anyway,
But also don't Google it.
But he's unbelievable.
His K-minus walks 32% right now.
Scott, how at 37 did he get control?
Crazy.
He's not walking anybody anymore.
It's his best walk rate in his career.
His
career.
Crazy.
Not just like, he's down from last year. By the way, he's down 7.6% from last year, but lowest number of his career, it was 8.1. He's now at 7.1 while having the third highest swinging strike rate of his career.
Yes, it hasn't cost him anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Don't think that he's gone finesse on us, folks. Aroldis Chapman's still gassing fools left and right.
You know what? Do you know what Chapman's whip is?
It's got to be sub 1.
Give me a guess. I know you haven't looked, so give me a guess.
0.78.
You're high. 0.65.
That is so crazy.
He's
got to be one of the fantasy all-stars this year, right?
1.00 flat ERA, 0.65 whip with 29 saves after today. And by the way, today he faced 4 guys and had 4 strikeouts.
He's a Hall of Famer to me. I'm pro relievers in the Hall of Fame. I think he needs.
I didn't think we get that call. That's an interesting one.
I think so. I mean, what are we gonna do with these guys, right?
He's not getting in, by the way.
He's not. But I would put him in because I think it's a position, and I think he's one of the absolute best ever, maybe one of the top 3 closers ever.
You know, he struck out 4 guys in an inning today.
I didn't even process that.
He had a strike pitch. He had a strike 3 wild pitch. Struck out 4 guys. 4 guys in the ninth today.
I mean, and again, folks, this is 37-year-old Chapman, who we've written off 5 different times, never stuck. In fact, the only time he was ever really bad was 2022 when he had a 4.46 ERA. Even the other years where he was wobbly still came with like a mid to upper 3s ERA.
Crazy that 2022 season, his K-minus walk was under 10%. And now it's 32. Bonkers.
Baseball.
Yeah, but I mean, Bednar, if he's closing for the Yankees, maybe
would be up there. Yeah.
I mean, it gets really rough after 4 though. Like if Mason Miller's closing for the Padres, it's pretty easy. Like he's gonna be top 5. But like I tell you what, it's gonna be another year where after the top, maybe 8 or 9, it's gonna be
terrible.
Tough sledding. Yeah.
And I hate the saves grind. I've been whining about it for several years. It gets worse every year. You know who number 5 is though? If things trend the way they are, it's Cade Smith.
Oh, it's interesting.
If Clase is cooked, it's Cade Smith.
You think Clase is off somewhere and not playing baseball? I guess, huh?
That's my concern, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if he comes back, but if he comes back, isn't it just him then?
I guess it's just him. If he comes, I mean, I guess if you believe he can take a few months off, Cleveland closer,
Cleveland number 5, I guess is what I'm going to go with right now.
Cade Smith's really good too. 25% K-minus walk, really solid.
Where you at on Hoffman? I know he's had some key blowups recently, but I guess his ERA is really high. ERA is tough to judge a reliever for, though.
It's like Sean Chacon level of sticking with this guy. It's wild, but he still has 30 saves. He still has a 31% strikeout. It's just like when he gets lit up and has nothing, he just gets
destroyed. He has a good whip. Like 118 is fine.
Yeah.
Good is an overstatement, but it's fine. If he had like a 130 or something, so maybe they're seeing that he's just had these big blowups, like you said.
It's home runs too. He's over 2 home runs per 9.
There you go.
It's a bonkers number, and that's never been. It's been a little bit of an issue for him. It's never been a huge problem. You can't have as a closer now.
You cannot have that as a closer. That's terrifying for the playoffs.
It is. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so terrifying. You can't trust a guy that's coming like that. But I mean, walk rate's up a little bit, but still 8%. Strikeout rate's still really good, consistent with what it was the last 2 years when he was awesome with Philly. I think he's probably going to be someone that maybe is the 10th, 11th closer off the board.
I was going to say top 10, 12.
Probably a pretty good value at that place because I think those home runs. What's his? I'm trying to look. What his
home run to fly ball?
Home run to fly ball is 21.5%.
That's okay. So he's been pretty unlucky too.
It was under 9.5% the last 3 years.
Yeah, I'm sure he's contributing to it some, Jeff Hoffman. You don't just write that off completely, but it's something that I don't believe will stick next year unless he's cooked for some reason. And I don't have any
13.5% barrel rate against is a problem. So he has contributed to it, but there's been some stuff in there too. He's gonna be an interesting offseason guy too. It's gonna figure out where they're going with him because it's they've really stuck with him too, like through thick and thin, and never wavered once either.
And that might make him more expensive where people say, hey, he was so committed to, and he got you sneaky 8 wins. That's part of blowing a bunch of games is that your team comes back for you.
That's living like Billy Koch right there.
Yes, it is. 6 losses too, by the way.
Not surprising. But cool. Well, let's jump into some fab talk. First note for our sponsors at Chalkboard. Cash in your MLB picks this season with Chalkboard. Simply choose more or less on your favorite player stats to win up to 5,000 times your money. For a limited time only, new players get $20 free with no deposit required. Yes, you heard that right. $20 just on sign-in. See why over 1 million fans have already locked in with Chalkboard to turn their sports knowledge into cold, hard cash. Whether you're locking in the perfect slip with alternate lines, using the cash out feature to take your money and run, or hammering the daily promos, today is your chance to win up to $40,000 on a single entry. Stop sitting on the sidelines and get into the game with Chalkboard Fantasy Sports, now available in 30-plus states. Download Chalkboard today and use promo code ROTOMLB, that's ROTOMLB, to get $20 free with no deposit required. So, Paul, I wanted to jump into talk more baseball and kind of fantasy stuff for next year, because the FAAB was not the best. Last week was really interesting. We had those like 3 pitchers that came out of nowhere and all 0% rostered in the main event, all added in like 57 leagues. It was a wild week for that late in the year. You just don't see that all that often that late in the year. But it was really fun. If you needed pitching, like you actually could get some that late in the year. And Tong pitched pretty well. Bradish pitched okay. You mentioned Tole was not great against Arizona over the weekend, but 3 interesting arms there. I'm going to start with hitters. There were like a bunch of guys coming off the IL or soon to be off the IL that were maybe the biggest targets in leagues. It's guys like Jake Berger, Kyle Stowers, Parker Meadows on your Tigers, Ha-Seong Kim on the Rays, 2 catchers, Tyler Stevenson and Frisco Alvarez both came off the IL. All of these guys were kind of in the 40 to 60% owned in the main event, obviously way less so in 12-teamers. Did you have anybody in this group you really, really were targeting? Who did you like here? All obviously are intriguing, whether you need a little speed with Meadows and Kim, power with Burgers and Stowers. If you need a catcher, Stevenson, Alvarez obviously have better than a lot of catcher twos. What were you kind of thinking in this group? Was there someone that really stuck out to you? You're like, I need to go get that guy now.
No, well, I couldn't afford anybody, so I will speak as a theoretical person.
Person with FAAB money.
By the way, if I hope Greg listens to this, not just because we gassed him up a bit, but because he and I had a little side bet of how many Angels Luis Garcias would go. So
how many do it?
I put it at a 4.5 over/under for the main event only.
Okay.
He took the under. What would you have taken?
I would have taken the under, but I would have thought there would be like 3 or 4.
And you guys both are right at the under, and it was 3. So if I had said all games, obviously I would have cashed, I would have put a different number out there, but it was 7 total in all NFBC games. It was 3 main events for the wrong Luis Garcia.
You want to know what's really bad? I just went to check to make sure that I didn't do it.
You're like, wait a minute, because they're both pitchers too, so it's like really confusing.
There was a 15, a 7. You know what my favorite one is? There was a main event with a buy of 3 with a backup bid of 1. So I might have to give you the over that. I mean, there were definitely 4 bids. There were 4 bids, confirmed 4 bids.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. But
can you imagine how happy you feel if you got outbid in that one?
Oh my God, you're like, yes,
the greatest miss of all time.
My biggest mistake did not get me put on blast completely.
That's awesome.
But no, I did think that Luis Garcia, the right one, the Angels, not the Angels one, the Astros one, had some intrigue this week. But I was really looking at the hitters, and Kyle Stowers is obviously kind of that big piece that could really still make a big move.
Yeah.
One of my buddies actually went to see him start his rehab in Charlotte because he lives out there in the Charlotte Knights. And he said he looked fine or whatever. I wasn't expecting him to give me like some great report, but he's like, oh yeah, Stowers is here right now. So I think he's somebody who can make a huge move for you. I think somebody like a Drew Gilbert is kind of interesting. As maybe like a little bit of a power speed kind of guy. Greg.
Did it mess you up that I called him Parker Gilbert in the outline?
Oh my God, I didn't even put that together. I think my brain separated the two, and I was thinking of both Parker Meadows and Drew Gilbert. So it worked perfectly for me that I knew where your brain was going.
I was hoping there was a Parker Gilbert out there. Maybe you're going to bid on it. Would be good.
Parker Gilbert can't lose.
Yeah. Good reference right there. Nobody under 25 will get that, but that's a good.
No, that's true. Yeah. But the lead actor follows me on Twitter.
Really?
Nemick. Yeah.
Look at you.
I have no idea why, but I did really.
I think I have.
Hang on, you're cutting out. I'm not no selling you on what you're telling me. I just can't hear you right now.
I think
Chad, are you guys hearing Robot Scott as well, or is that just me?
No, that's probably all of you.
Okay, I got you back now.
So weird. I get like 30 seconds of each podcast. It randomly goes out of nowhere. I did all the tests on my internet. Yeah, my internet is like it's like you can run 4K video as often you want, and just whatever.
It's the same time of the pod every day too, or every week. I've noticed,
sense.
or not literally the same time, but like a little bit into the show is when you go robot for 2 minutes, or not 2 minutes, but like 20 seconds. Yeah. Anyway, who were you saying that you followed or followed you?
I forget who it was. I couldn't remember. There's an actor that follows me too. I can't remember who it is though.
It was Tom Hanks. You guys didn't hear it. Anyway, moving on.
Tom Hanks, beautiful. Yeah. So, is there anybody else? The Drew Gilbert one. What do you see? Yes. Like, I was looking at Drew Gilbert. I thought it was like an interesting kind of, batting average, a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. Someone with a lot of playing time. He's hot right now, and it's the last 3 weeks. Like, we're just looking for playing time, and maybe it's someone that's seeing the ball well. And it seems like he's doing some good stuff out there as a first time guy up. He's really started really well.
Really interesting prospect too. He's been moved around a couple times. He was traded from the Mets in the Verlander deal, I believe, from the Astros to the Mets, and then I forget how he got from the Mets out to the Giants right now. But yeah, he's jumped on the playing time, and I will cite Greg yet again, because when he and I were talking about him, he said that they had the Giants had said they were going to give Matos an opportunity, and then Gilbert basically just snatched it from him. Now that
Matos opportunity didn't really last, did it? It was like 5 games. Like, oh well, we got someone else we're going to play.
Like, this guy is way more intriguing. Now, Matos is the righty and Gilbert's the lefty, so that just naturally advantages Gilbert. But he's also just run with it. So yeah, we're looking for hot hands right now, folks, down the stretch. I just think he's somebody who could do a little bit of everything for you. So I like Drew Gilbert.
And that Giants offense, I know they played in cores this week, but the Giants offense is weirdly not someone you want to just kind of automatically throw your pitchers against right now.
Yeah, they're okay.
They've actually been okay. The nice thing is he does get 2 righties out the bat in Arizona. Does face Erod for a third brush, so he gets 2 righties and then a lefty. And the back half of the week they play the Dodgers, so he gets Ohtani, Yamamoto, Kershaw. So he gets 6 righties this week, so he should play at least 2/3 of the game this week.
Agreed. Yeah. So Drew Gilbert, get him in for the Giants.
Talk to me real quick about Parker Meadows. I know he's hitting 9th. There were some quotes from the manager like, if he can hit, he can play. He's going to stay in the lineup. Do you think he plays? Do you think he obviously going to sit probably against lefties? But do you think he plays against almost all righties?
Yeah, I definitely think that he's going to get his opportunities against righties with Parker Meadows. The team likes him. They're committed to him. They want him to be healthy and playing well. He's just off the IL. They have an opportunity to slow play it a little bit because they trust all their guys. And I know that these guys aren't like bangers. Nobody's excited about Jahmai Jones or even Javi Baez anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
But AJ Hinch trusts them to play. So he's not going to force it with Meadows when he's not doing well. But he's going to get the opportunities against righties because both those guys I mentioned are right-handers, Baez and Jahmai Jones. So they're not going to conflict with Meadows. He's going to get the full right side run, and we'll see where he goes with it. I still think he's a talented player. We're just going to have to see where he's at off the IL.
Was there anybody else on offense you really liked? I kind of feel like it was kind of those guys coming off the IL. Zach Geloff is another guy in that group that.
Oh yeah, he was in my list too.
He's about 50% rostered in the main event. Is kind of another guy coming off the IL. It seemed like it was those guys. A little bit of like maybe some Curtis Mead if you need some positional eligibility. Osvaldo Peraza, is that the one that's playing for the Angels? A bunch of positions. So Oswald Peraza. He's
Oswaldo Cabrera.
I always mess those up.
Yeah, me too. And when they were on the same team, it was killing me because I liked both.
It was brutal.
I would mess them up. But who did you just mention? I'm sorry. Oh, Peraza.
Peraza has 4 position eligibility, playing a lot for the Angels. He's someone that if you need at-bats, you need someone to cover a bunch of spots for you. I think he can work out okay, too.
Yes, and he was on my list along with Geloff. And then you put Ha-Seong Kim on our list here. And I'd actually like to spin it forward real quick on him and ask you what we're looking at next year, because this is a washout, wretched season here. 28 games, nothing to write home about. Even if he has a good 3 weeks here, it probably can't save this. He's going to be a free agent, right? They just got rid of him because he had a player option. The Rays cut him because he had a player option for $16 million that he obviously would have accepted coming off of this season.
Yes.
So I'm curious, is he somebody you think you're going to buy in like DCs? Because I think his price is going to go in the tank completely.
I do. I think that I like the bump ups in hard contact over the last 3 years. He was he's one of those guys like, he can't hit the ball hard enough. He better steal a lot because he's never going to do anything else. Then he was up to 35% last year. He's at 43% this year. Bail rate's up a touch. He's striking out a little bit more, but 24%. You can probably manage that. I think he's still what? Was he 11-22 last year? He was 17-38 the year before that. I think he's a nice DC buy, actually. I think that you're going to get some speed. It doesn't matter if he falls into a starting position is kind of the key here. Do you think he sticks with Atlanta? Do you think that
That's the question. I wonder where he's going to go. I think if he has a good debut here, or audition, I should say, with Atlanta, they could be interested in him. He's still going to only be 30 next year, which is not young, but neither is it old. And he can play. He can pick it for sure. And I do think a lot of teams will give him the benefit of the doubt of an injury washout this year and just give him an $8 million, $10 million opportunity next year. So if it was with the Braves, I'd even be more interested. But really anywhere where Ha-Seong Kim can maybe get a starting spot, because I think he's going to go post pick 250, maybe even post pick 300.
I do too.
He'd be dirt cheap. So I like him next year.
And I might not be thinking of somebody. You're probably better with prospects than I am too. Do the Braves have a shortstop? I mean, they got Nick Allen, I know, who can field but can't hit.
Yeah, that's the thing. They got guys who can pick it.
It's not like there's someone on the IL that obviously Riley's on the IL. He's not shortstop, but there's nobody really there, right? That you're like, oh, well, he's going to be the starting shortstop for the Braves next season.
Absolutely not. Unless they have a pop-up guy this year that I'm missing and chat can illuminate. Nobody I'm aware of, and I follow prospects a decent bit to know who's next up. They don't have anybody next up that I think is knocking down the door for shortstop.
Yeah, I'm looking at like organizational ranks here. There's a third baseman. There's a Luke Waddell that's in AAA that's 29th in their organization rate last year. But yeah, there's no like guy knocking down the door at shortstop. They're kind of interesting. The Braves don't have a shortstop.
Right. So I wonder
where's Rafi Furcal when we need him?
Oh my God, throwing stuff at people.
Dude has a cannon. I wouldn't want him to throw anything at me.
You saw he like threw a firecracker at something, or a rock, something weird like that. It was very bizarre. But anyway, we share the same birthday, so I know way too much about Furcal.
October 24th, we know that now.
Yes. I mean, good memory. I mentioned that early in passing, and nice pull there.
Okay. There's a reason. I remember the weirdest things, but I remember a lot of stuff. It's just,
my sister has amazing birthday recall,
but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what I did yesterday. By the way,
that's what it's me with like baseball crap, right? I can remember, random ass players from out of nowhere, but can I remember them to go to the doctor appointment at the right time? No, I forget. So it's crazy what our brains remember.
I am the same way. So talking about starting pitching, I thought starting pitching was pretty fascinating this week. It was nothing like last week where there are three obvious guys, but there's like this handful of guys who, if you need wins, you need strikeouts, you need to fill spots. There's all these guys that are pitching twice a week. We weirdly came into a week where we got like 6 or 7 guys who aren't rostered anywhere who are pitching twice. Like that never happens to like work out this late in the season. But at the top, I wanted to ask you about Luis Garcia. He's obviously the Astros Luis Garcia. Thank you. But he's pitching twice a week, so we'll start with him. But look good in his first outing. He's obviously someone that was really good in the past, pitching well and when he came up in his rehab assignment in the minors. Through 30 innings, really good K-minus walk, pitched really well there, so looked good. Was getting a ton of swing and miss. He was obviously very good when he pitched in what was that last pitch in 2023, but really good in 2021, 2022. You never know with guys coming off injury, but I thought he was worth the risk this week to take a shot at, because I think he's one of those guys that you might get 4 really good starts out of him, and I don't know if you can say that for kind of anybody else we're picking up.
I completely agree there with Luis Garcia, and that's why you had to go after him. It's always this pick up and ask questions later, because that's just the fantasy environment that we live in. I'm generally cautious about guys coming off of long-term injuries. I had no expectation for him. But have you noticed this recent run that we've had of guys who've come back and just had banger starts right off of these huge injuries? Javier, his teammate, was very good. And then you mentioned Bradish. Tyler Wells came back.
Shane Bieber, too.
Yeah, Bieber's another one.
Yeah.
So that's 5 guys there. Interestingly, it's 2 pairs on 2 different teams.
Yeah.
And then Bieber in Toronto. That's crazy, though. And I don't know if it's just the luck of the draw there, or, it probably just is, because normally guys coming back from long-term injuries aren't that good immediately. But yeah, I'm interested in Luis Garcia big time this week, because who else are you going to go to? The risk is still high, right? Because he is still coming off of basically 2 years off. He had 27 innings in 2023. So Luis Garcia is coming back off of 2 years. However, he's 28. He's been around the block twice. He's had 2 full seasons under his belt. And there is a world where he just comes back and he's healthy and ready to go. He's been off a while. So yeah, you got to go for somebody like this on a 2-start week on a great team. You don't find guys like this very often. You mentioned how unique last week was. To then follow it up with another quality 2-step guy, got to go for Luis Garcia in a big way.
And they secret kind of need him to be one of their 5 starters too. I know they went when they go 6. I guess they skipped him to go Valdez twice this week. But I know Jason Alexander's been pretty serviceable, but they started Gordon this week. I think Garcia kind of, if he pitches okay, he slots in that rotation. He's one of their guys for sure. They moved McCullers to the bullpen, so I think he can slide in and keep that job, dude. This is not like one bad start is gonna be out. I think they want him to be one of those starters down the stretch and getting him in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I really think he could be somebody, both he and Javier could really change this Astros team. And I know a lot of people are tired of the Astros and a lot of people hate them. It could be same old where they start making noise in the playoffs again.
Yeah, it really could. Before we get into two-step guys, real quick, Ryan Weathers is available in about 60% of the main event. He's someone that got a ton of bidding. I was one that bid triple digits on him. I was really excited what I saw before he got injured. He is scheduled to come back. It sounds like he's going to pitch this week. They have not named it for sure, but it looks like probably either Wednesday or Thursday against Washington.
Right.
Nice landing spot right there. That's a good home start against Washington. We all like that. How do you feel about Ryan Weathers here these last 3 weeks of the season?
Very interested. This is an arm I remain bought in on. I'm not going to quit. I was talking to you about Gavin Williams and how I'm sticking with him because it's 300 innings. It's 267 with Weathers, and that's spread out over parts of 5 seasons. This guy hasn't really gotten a full chance yet. He's only 26 years old. So not only am I in for this, but I'm in for next year too. This is another guy that I'm going to be having a little star by in my DC is Ryan Weathers. He'll be 26 next year. I still think there's a lot of talent with this guy.
So do you kind of like research guys for next year as you're doing your DCs? Is that kind of your? That's kind of your. It's obviously a slow draft. You got time to do it,
and that's what I use them for. Is prep, and I spend the time in between rounds, like really getting my list out, especially that first DC really helps me. And I use other people's picks. I'm like, I wasn't thinking about that guy. Why did they pick him? And then it really helps me learn. Do
you play other fantasy sports? Or you just baseball all the time?
Football.
You do, but
yeah, I used to play everything too. Yeah. I just don't have time to, I never want to play anything that I can't commit to.
Yeah,
I want to play for money or something. It doesn't have to be money, but I want to play for a prize, and I want to do well. So I just don't have time to do the basketball and the hockey. The fall, I actually want to take a break. Football's once a week. Just do Tuesday night.
Yeah, so easy compared to baseball. It's just the time.
But then basketball and hockey have that day-to-day grind of baseball. Not quite the same, but similar.
There's a lot.
I just don't do it.
Yeah. So talk to me now about all these guys pitching twice. I'm just going to list them out. I'm curious who you like. We've got Yonendris Gomez, Jacob Latz, Caden Dana in Anaheim, and not Anaheim. Where is he? He is in Anaheim. That's right.
He is an Angel. Yep.
Nabil Krismat. We've got Jansen Junk, Bryce Elder, and Mitchell Parker. Like all these names, I kind of put them all in one group, and as I was doing my bids, I kind of parsed through them and figured out who I wanted or didn't want. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too fired up about any of them by the end I got through. I think Gomez is probably the one I was most interested in. I think I'm a little bit interested in Nabil Krismat as well. I know he's in strike guys out, but I like the control. He's got a good changeup. Our friend Rob J. Petrie mentioned earlier, had a write up on him on his Patreon earlier that got me a little bit interested there too. Was there anybody in this group that you really liked and kind of put at the top of the list, or where'd you kind of fall with these guys?
I actually had some love for Krismat as well. He is somebody that he's been around for a while. You might recognize this name. It's not. It's a unique name. So if you've seen it before, you're like, this guy from the Padres, and he was kind of a swingman guy.
Yeah.
And again, the skills are not outrageous. In fact, they're actually not all that good, but he's locating very well. And I do think that even though Arizona's kind of just playing out the string, there's still a decent win potential. They're a 500 ball club, right? So when you're streaming, you're not usually getting guys on good teams to begin with. So you take what you can get. This is going to be one of your higher win potentials. So I like Krismat more where you're chasing wins and volume as opposed to pure ratios, because I do still think there's some ratio risk here where the ERA could really sting you as it regresses. But if you can take that and chase the wins with, 10, 12 innings of work, I don't mind Krismat. I also like Jacob Latz. He showed some flashes early this year where we got really excited. It didn't really come to fruition. But now with Eovaldi out, they got to rely on him a bit more. He returned to the rotation. He's made 2 good starts since then. I still think this is an interesting guy. So Latz was pretty high on my list as well.
Yeah, the walk scared me a little bit with Latz, but anybody here you're getting, is going to scare you with something. There's nobody. But I was a little bit on him. Someone in the chat asked me who I ended up picking up. I actually, I had a bunch of these guys on my list, but I ended up picking up relievers in both leagues. So I actually didn't get any of these these 2 steppers in the end. I had them listed out. I spent the time to research them, but then didn't get any of them. But all of them are a little bit scary. I think at this point of the year, you don't have anybody easy. I veered pretty hard away from Mitchell Parker. He scares the crap out of me. And he's got really. At Miami, home Pittsburgh, like on paper, looks pretty good. The closer I looked at Caden Dana, good stuff, but man, those walks scare the crap out of me too. That's like 13% so far this year, 30%. He's got issue in the minors with walks too. I was a little bit scared. He's got 12.5% walk rate in his 82 AAA innings this year with a 5.9 ERA. Like I just kind of he scared me too. I know he's got 2 starts this week as well, but I think... it was a tough list. I think I was Gomez, Krismat, Lats was kind of my top three is the kind of the way that I ordered them.
Oh yeah, Gomez. Let me say something on Yoenis Gomez because I like that you brought him up. He's a pitcher for the White Sox who definitely has a lot of arm talent. He's an interesting guy that I believe they got by way of the Yankees, who they've been giving an opportunity to. 25 years old, misses some bats, has walk issues as well, like some of these other guys that we've been talking about. So there is major whip risk, but the White Sox have sneaky win probability now that they didn't have earlier this year.
Wins
Not
games.
high win probability, but if they, coming into the year, they were like, anytime you pick up one of their starters, 2% win probability with Shane Smith. Now, down the stretch here, I think it's closer to like 25, 30%. Like, they're not playing that badly. The offense is going. So I like Gomez. I'm glad you brought him up for sure.
Their run differential is better than the Twins on the year?
That's crazy. But honestly, I'm not that surprised. That offense, this was something I'm probably pounding the drum on this a little too much because I predicted it, but this was a team I said would get better as the season went on because they were going to add all these prospects. It took longer than I expected. I thought they might be able to start playing better as early as like May or June, but it finally did happen. So be careful with the White Sox when you're streaming. I'm still going to stream a lot of guys against them, but not any old body the way I was for most of the year.
I agree there. Yeah, better run differential than the Twins, better than the Orioles, better than the Angels.
Better than the Orioles?
Yep. Yeah, Orioles are minus 82 now, and the White Sox are minus 80. And my favorite number is they're 300 runs better than the Rockies.
I've called them the pace eaters ever since I heard Jeff say it. Like, it instantly stuck for me as the funniest thing, and nothing more accurately describes the Rockies than the pace eaters in the corner. It's
the Nationals are truly horrendous. They're minus 172 run differential. They are 200 runs better than the Rockies.
Why don't we have relegation?
Seriously,
give
me whoever the best AAA team. Let's just do it.
Or just relegate the owner because I feel so bummed because that's a great town.
Great stadium. Like everything's
great
nice
stadium.
there. Yeah.
Great uniform. Great color scheme. Purple. Are you kidding me? They should be a great team, but they need new ownership.
They've given up 912 runs on the year. That is
crazy.
There's nobody else in the 800s.
I almost spit took there. Oh my god.
The Nationals are 773. The Rockies are 912. Again, I know they play half the games at Coors Field, but that is truly horrendous.
It's an extra level of ineptitude with them.
They have the second fewest runs in all of baseball, playing half their games at Coors. That's probably the craziest.
That's really the problem, way more than any of the other stuff you said. You're exactly right.
They scored more runs than the Pirates, and that's it. Boy, the Pirates' offense is really bad.
Imagine if they had an offense, though, because that pitching is really coming together. We've seen Braxton Ashcraft take a step. Bubba's finally here. Skeens is a god.
Not today for Bubba, though. Oof.
Oh, I didn't see him. Did he get cooked?
Eight earned and two and a third, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Still like him long term, but yeah,
I think it was his first start too, because he had been kind of piggybacking along. I think it was his first start. Yeah.
Yeesh, 9 earned and 2 2/3. Yeah. Oh my god. Well, Milwaukee, man.
Yeah, it was him and the Miz. I thought it was gonna be a really good start. I was kind of like, my second TV, I had some tennis on. I kind of flipped out, and I'm like, I can tune that one off. And it was.
Can I ask you about the Miz? How frustrating is he to deal with right now from a management perspective? Do you just blindly start it and take it? If it's 3 innings, who gives a crap? Because this can happen if you don't start him. Or have you been trying to manage him if you have Mizorowski?
It's really tough. I think the answer is probably you just throw him out there. It probably depends what you need. If you need wins or if you need something. But I think that you probably. I mean, he threw 7 today, right?
Right. Yeah, he had an amazing outing. 7 innings and 108 pitches too. So you can't even say that he just dominated Pittsburgh on 80 pitches. They gave him a real workload, but he was coming off of 4 1/3, 5, 4 1/3, and 1 1/3.
Yeah, he had thrown under 80 pitches in 80 or fewer pitchers in his I think 7 of his last 8 outings. He had a 93 in there, and today was 108. And however they're using him is very. I mean, this week was easy because he pitched twice, so you're gonna get enough innings anyway, but I don't know. It's been very weird.
Far be it for me to, and I don't mean to derail us. I know we're going along here, but
you're good.
Milwaukee, if you're managing him, which I don't really buy management, it doesn't work in terms of saving guys anyway. But if you're going to do it, this is where you drop 108 pitches when you're up 9-0 in the third. Against the worst team in the league.
It might be one of the weirdest outings of the whole season because you figure we're managing him. Oh my God, get him out after 5 now.
Absolutely, immediately after 5.
Game's
Give him
over.
his W.
Pittsburgh's not going to score in our bullpen. They're Pittsburgh, and it was 9-1 at that point.
That
weird,
again,
weird, super weird, right?
They've done everything right this year. This one makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it is. People in the chat saying they also call the Rockies the pace eaters. It's amazing. I think
I love that Jeff.
It's
made
Jeff's
that
gift to the community. It's beautiful.
It's so good.
Yeah. Speaking of Bubba Chandler, what someone asked in the chat, what round does Bubba Chandler go in next year?
Okay, I see somebody. Yeah, somebody answered pick 200. It's got to be out of the 200s for me right now. It might not be. This might be another one of those where if you're drafting in October, November, you're going to get good Bubba Chandler prices. And then as the offseason hype builds and builds and builds, and then he goes and throws, 7 strikeouts in his first spring training start of 3 innings, then the price is, top 100. I think he could be one of those guys for Bubba.
I was gonna say in the main event, there's no way he gets to 200.
I agree.
I don't think he gets to 100, although he had to look really good. I think like a right after the break, 10, 11, right in there. If he looks good in spring, looks healthy in spring, I think he's probably.
I don't think he has to do much to get top 100.
Top 100 is like 7th round. You think he can get to there?
You see these helium moves that we do every spring?
I do. He wasn't good in AAA this year, though.
No, but a lot of people are giving him the pass of like he didn't give a crap.
Right. Okay.
Like he was kind of coasting type of vibe. I'm not against that, by the way.
By the way, I don't love my 22-year-old coasting in AAA that much.
No. Like, who are you to?
Yeah.
If it was the case,
148 whip in AAA is pretty ugly.
And like, have you really done enough to be that, right? And again, we don't know that. That is a speculation, and I don't mean to cast aspersions on Bubba. Nor did the people saying it that I heard say it. Nor were they suggesting that. They were surmising or suggesting that perhaps. That was the case because he was so counter to how good he had been. But he only had 39 innings there last year. It's not like you figured it out, Bubba.
Right.
So I hope that he wasn't behaving like that because that would be kind of lame for a 22-year-old.
I do too. I think that it's funny because he looked really, really good up until today. Like when he came in those like 4-inning spurts, you're like, oh my God, this is like legit real deal. Everybody has starts like this. I would not hold one start against him, but yeah, you're right. That's a really good point on Mizorowski because I have no idea why they let him throw those extra couple innings.
It's such a waste.
How do you let him get to 108 in that game?
I don't know of all the times to do it.
Weird.
Against like a Philly or against the Dodgers, of course, I would co-sign that 1,000,000%. But against the whatever, okay.
By the way, or like the last week if you need it. You're up 7.5 games too. Like it's a weird spot. We did not need this. The game was over. They didn't really need it. The game was over anyway. It
made no sense.
It's a really good point. But real quick on FAAB, relievers real quick. This is kind of where I went. I'm struggling with saves ever since the trade deadline. I had a couple. I had Helsley in a couple leagues, both leagues. I think it hit just, he got dealt, and he's been terrible for the Mets, by the way. Kind of strange. But Daniel Palencia really got roughed up this afternoon, so it kind of changed bidding a little bit. He gave it 5 runs, then came out with a shoulder injury. I don't. As of when we started this, we didn't have like a concrete diagnosis. I mean, he's listed day to day on sites and stuff. We don't know yet, but shoulder injury on a team who's 99.7% to make the playoffs right now per ESPN. They want him to be ready for the playoffs. I assume they're going to be pretty cautious with him. Got smoked today. Do you like anyone in the Cubs bullpen as a pickup? There's Brad Keller, who's pitched well. Andrew Kittredge, Porter Hodge was kind of the next guy up for a while. Was there anybody here that you found yourself like, I'm gonna attack this guy for the last 3 weeks?
Kittredge and Keller in that order.
Okay.
Kittredge is really nasty, and believe it or not, Baltimore actually gave him some bucks this year, which we were making fun of them earlier, or you weren't making fun of them. I kind of laughed when you talked about how the White Sox had a better run differential than them. They did so many things wrong. This was one of them too, though. Like, not so much that they gave Kittredge the 10 mil, it's that they didn't give anybody else any money. If that was like another move on top of 3 other good moves, I wouldn't have cared, but that's where you spent your money. Anyway, he is a good pitcher, though. So I don't want to dog Kittredge out too much. I just didn't know why that's where they spent their money. But he's got great numbers this year, 22% strikeout minus walk. That's the first place we go. He does miss bats. Keller throws 97. He's kind of nasty, and he is missing bats more in the bullpen this year, 28%. But he walks a lot more than Kittredge. I just think Kittredge, if he can keep the ball in the park. Remember, we talked about homers earlier with Hoffman. That's the worst thing you can do as a closer. That might give Keller the advantage. But for me, I am still going to bid a couple bucks more on Kittredge because his skills are better. But they're very close for me.
I had him really close, and I needed a closer. I went back and forth this one. I went Keller, then Kittredge, so I went opposite of you. But I had him really close. I just looked at the 2.20, 0.98 whip, and I kind of figured maybe the Cubs would be like
0.4 homer. Honestly, I think you might be right. I said they were close there. I'm going to change my mind and say I'm going to be swayed by that because no homers basically because he throws that heavy sinker. Keller does. So you know that like he might end up walking some guys and giving up a bunch of hits to blow a game, but he's almost certainly not going to give up the long ball.
You had them both ahead of Hodge though, right?
Yes.
Kittredge is 35. Wow.
Yes, he's old. He's been around for a minute. That's another thing with the Baltimore thing. It's like a 35-year-old reliever for $10 million. Yeah. Again, it doesn't bother me on its face, but that was like the only money they spent besides the Tyler O'Neill money.
Yeah, the Tyler O'Neill. Oh, geez, Tyler O'Neill. Goodness. You can go out. We can go out on Tyler O'Neill too. But I was Keller then Kittredge. I ended up picking him up in the league. I got a mad text from Mike Masato after that because he has Palencia, so he was. We tied on the bids, which I pointed out.
He has no money, right?
He had $4 coming in today, and I said we each bid 3. I'm like, well, you had 4. Why didn't you bid 4? Was my answer to him. I'm like, if you really wanted him,
you could have gone all in.
But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we get into a situation where they share or they kind of mix and match.
They're both right-handed.
They are, and so is Hodge. So there's no like real advantage there. So I don't know what we get, but I thought it was worth. Obviously a good team for 3 weeks. If you fall into.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but Keller didn't pitch all week, and I kind of like getting a guy like that because now he can go 2, maybe 3x.
He did pitch today.
Okay. I'm sorry. We didn't have that at Fangraphs loaded in yet.
Scoreless inning today with 2 strikeouts. So he did pitch today, but
so he'll just have a regular week then.
Yeah. Did you? Was there anybody else you liked here?
Leisure.
Leisure. All right. Yeah. I hated he pitched the 8th today because I think that maybe had me drop my bid down a buck or two. But he's gotten 5 saves since the trade deadline, so that's 5 weeks. So a save a week. If you could follow the 3 or 4 down the stretch here, you mentioned before. White Sox win equity is better than it was in the first couple months of the season. Mm-hmm. That was my second bid too. I had Jake Woodford third. He seemed like he's maybe nudging ahead of Sal Frank in Arizona. And you mentioned Arizona's not a dead team for wins either.
Agreed.
Do you think there's anything actionable in the Dodgers bullpen? We kind of joked about the Yamamoto outing. Trinan looked horrible. Tanner Scott came in, gave up a hit right away to end the game. Tanner Scott's been a mess. He really has. A lot of the stats are still pretty good, but when you see him out there, you don't feel good about it, giving up some home runs. Do you think there's any way that Kopech could fall into a few saves here down the stretch? Do you think it feels like they want to find Dave Rogers doesn't want to find a guy, but he'd like to find someone where feels good about them coming to the playoffs, right?
That you can actually press. We talk about these October, November drafts, and everyone likes to tout when they got somebody on the cheap. I'll go ahead and take fall on the sword and making fun of myself. I was all over Kopech as their closer next year. I got a bunch of shares of him at way too expensive of a price.
He got hurt too. I mean, it's not right. Yeah.
Injury played a role, but he also went back to walking 14%. So I got a little drunk on his sample last year. But the thing of it is if he can recapture what he was doing last year, which still was with 11% walk rate. Like it's not like he figured it out, but he's a guy that's good enough, Kopech, that even if he's just walking 10, 11%, he can be great because he doesn't give up homers. You can't hit him, and he strikes everybody out. So I think that's the guy they would like to nurse into that reliability role. I still don't know if it's chaseable for saves though, because I think Roberts is just going to play matchups. I think it's going to be.
And I know he likes matchups, but I don't think he feels good about calling anybody out of the bullpen right now.
That's true. Like, who do you call where you're like, yeah, we're going to get this?
There isn't one. Every time I watch Trinan, I'm like, this does not look anything like the guy who pitched in Oakland. Nope. I know that the movement's still there, but his sinker's still really good, but the slider kind of hangs a little bit. I don't know. I don't feel good when he goes out there.
Maybe Robleski. Maybe, and by the way, I'm not saying to get him for saves. I'm saying maybe he's the one you feel confident in calling out of the bullpen right now.
Trinan's walk rate's twice as high as it was last year. I know he's only thrown 19 innings, but it's still twice as high. I mean, his whip's 174. He's been less swing and miss. I don't feel good about it. He's still striking guys out, but man, whenever I watch him, I just don't see many remnants of the guy that was an absolute beast.
Is their bullpen sneaky bad?
I mean, they've spent so much money on it. I don't know. And Kirby Yates is back on the IL? No, he's back. He's back now, too. And they've got him. Jack Dreyer got the save today. So I think it was matchup based. Kopech, I think, through the 8.
I got one for you. I got the dark horse.
Oh, give it to me.
Edgardo Enriquez.
Oh.
Bro throws 101.
I've seen him pitch a couple times. It's kind of an easy 101, too. It comes out. You're like, oh, that looks like it's 96. I'm like, and 101. Yeah.
And doesn't have control. Don't be fooled by the 7% walk rate in 13 innings so far. He's double digits everywhere. So he's your classic flamethrower who has no idea where it's going. But again, they reined Kopech in for that run last year. If they can rein this young 23-year-old in, I might throw a buck on him if you're chasing saves. Edgardo Enriquez. And we saw Ronnie Enriquez pop off earlier, and I don't think they're related in any way, so that doesn't matter. But if you like stupid patterns that don't mean anything, you can bet on this Enriquez too.
16% swing strike rate so far in his 13 innings.
It's disgusting.
That's pretty nasty right there.
That's so filthy.
Yeah. Oof. Kind of a good one. I like that. I admit that I did not put him in my bids, but maybe I don't know. I ended up not bidding on the Dodgers. I have no idea.
I don't blame you. And I stayed away too. So I didn't bid on Enriquez, but he's somebody I've been keeping an eye on as like, what if he's their like September standout who all of a sudden gives them K-Rod numbers in October.
Was there anybody else in the closer market that you thought was even worth a buck or two? Maybe you can steal a couple saves here down the stretch.
I really just went with Leisure and the Cubs, then Leisure, and I didn't really go for anything else. So no, I didn't really see anything else. You got Ynier Cano on here. I saw you had listed him.
Yeah, I also listed anyone in Minnesota. I think my answer there is kind of no. Topo looked pretty bad this week, and I think he pitched up until 2 outs in the ninth today, and then they brought someone else in to get the save. There's nobody else. Riley O'Brien didn't pitch for like 10 days and then suddenly came back and got a win yesterday to save today. So maybe he's interesting in St. Louis again. But I think you're just kind of hoping to get lucky with some of these. Whereas I thought the Cubs guys and Leisure was at least like remotely could be, maybe you get 3 or 4 saves and you get lucky.
Right. By the way, I just saw the, Jeff always mentions Scarf. I'm in TARF, the Texas area Roto Fantasy.
All right.
And FAAB just went off at 11 Central.
Yep.
I hate to call him out, but Rudy Gamble bet on the wrong Luis Garcia.
So if you're counting that, then you're going to win all the bets against me and Greg.
Right. Now, I did say main event only, so you guys
your
won.
4.5 number was pretty sharp, though. That's
I'm cashing y'all's numbers there, but yeah. Of all people, too, Rudy, one of the greatest players I know, so I'm really not dogging him out. I respect his talent immensely. I can't believe he accidentally hit the wrong Luis Garcia.
I'm kind of surprised I didn't do it because I was watching football and kind of rushed through bids at the very end of a couple leagues. I'm surprised I didn't do it myself.
Can I take him off the hook a smidge?
Sure.
It's the same picture for both guys.
It is not. Is it?
I swear to God.
Is it picture or the same?
No,
or
it's Astros hat Luis Garcia for both guys. So if he opened it, saw the picture, clicked off, I'm going to give him a break on that.
That's pretty wild right there.
I think we need to tell Greg to see if they can update their system.
And there's a Luis Garcia Washington infielder too.
Right. And I think he's.
Oh my gosh, you're right. It's the same picture.
I think he's Luis Garcia Jr. now to separate himself.
The Angels. You're right. The Angels picture is the Houston headshot.
So he might have seen.
Is that dude really 38?
Yes, he's been around forever.
Wow. So it's that. I know who that is now. All right. That is not his picture.
No, that is not what he looks like.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. That's
so yeah, crazy stuff there. Again, all in fun there, Rudy. I'm not calling you out on anything, but that's crazy that they have the same picture there. And I imagine because he's not somebody who skimps that he at least clicked the profile, saw the pic, and said, "Oh, that's the right guy."
That's the right guy. Looks like
I did my due diligence.
Yeah. Well, if the Astros Luis Garcia get smoked this week, then maybe it's a present in disguise right there.
Right.
Yeah, so. Cool. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. Really fun to have Paul on as always. Love talking baseball with you. I could do it for a lot longer. We've already gone long as it is. So appreciate you jumping on. You were always super willing to come and jump on with us. So I really appreciate that as well. Hopefully your Lions get it going next week. I'm sure they will. I'm not especially worried about that. Not worried
going
about
into Lambeau. I mean,
yeah.
At least your boys, you are a Niners fan. I see the Niners hat there. At least your boys went into Seattle and as
I told my wife, we were watching Buffalo and Baltimore. And I was like, this feels like a varsity game compared to what I watched. The Niners Seahawks was like kind of slow and I'm like, there's no way they could play with either. They felt like a different level of sport.
The afternoon games sucked,
and they thought they were going to be good too. There was like kind of an interesting slate with the Lions, Packers, Niners, and then the Texans Rams looked good too. Yeah. And all those games sucked. They were all bad.
They were all dry as hell. Like I could not believe how bad they were.
And then we get game of the year for the 5:00 game. So I guess that it paid off there. But yeah, the under was 11-1 in the Sunday 12 the day games.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And the only one that over was Jets Steelers, and that was the lowest total on the board by 5 points to start the day.
And how nuts was it that it was the quarterbacks flipping spots and playing exactly the way each franchise expected they would last year?
Yeah, I saw there was a lot of fantasy upsetness over the lack of scoring. So it's gonna be a low scoring week unless you had the night game or Fields or Rogers. It was tough sledding out there.
Scott, I didn't have to check my box scores today because I went all Lions homer in fantasy this year because this is like the first time I've ever been able to do that. So hopefully
it was PPR for Jamar Gibbs at least.
It is, but I don't need to check to know that I lost. When I say I went full homer, I have Gibbs, Goff, Laporta, Jameson Williams, Bates, and the defense. I mean, I went all the way in. I don't care. Go on.
That might be a tough week, but I couldn't believe Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for 30 yards. That's how does someone? It seems impossible too.
Because he was just outlet.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to take us another hour on football because I can do it.
Beautiful. So, I want to thank everybody for listening. Want to thank Chalkboard for the sponsorship of the podcast. Again, thanks to Paul for jumping on. It's been really fun having you on a couple times this year, so we appreciate that. Hope everybody has a really good week, a good fantasy week. Hopefully, steal some leagues here down the stretch. We'll be back at you next Sunday night talking more baseball. We will be back at you then on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Hope everybody has a really good week and take care.